and welcome to another installment of TEDXcellence, the show in which I find out whether or not what I believe to be true is actually true. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday. Wonderful Wednesday. Yes, back once again for the, I don't know. This one's a mystery to me. This one might actually be good or something that I agree with. But I have a sneaking suspicion. Well, we'll see what happens. But before we get into any of that, let's say hi to those of you that have decided to join me today on today's journey into mystery. I don't think Thor is anywhere in there, but you never know. Asian Hippie, hello. Sean Uli, hello. Raziel, hello. Keenan, hello. That one servant of Zatania, hello. Black Belt for Christ, hello. Swirl Blue, hello. John Miller, hello. Mike R, hello. Ryan R, hello. Zeke Weiss, hello. Zan Wild, hello. Jaeger Pony, hello. What's his face McWhatnot, hello. Richo 8181, hello. Wade Waleson, hello. Merle Davis, hello. Your boy Pat, hello. Megan Ring, hello. Check Your Logic, hello. The Useless Cook, hello. Green Death, hello. Thank you, Mike R. Everything all right with your family? Yes, everything's fine. I didn't mean to scare anybody last night on the Lords of the Night thing. I can't go into it. It's nothing you need worry about. Let's put it that way. It's fine. Debate Fly, hello. John Miller, hello. The Redneck Ram, hello. Mr. No, hello. Irate Prostate, hello. Jonathan Peterson, hello. Wow, I got through everybody that's here. That's not usual. But then maybe... Oh, Gulf City, hello. Robert Pincus, hello. All right. So what do we have on doc today? Well, as with most TEDx's, some being, exceptions, the title is what caught my mind. Because the title is Why You Should Not Bring Your Authentic Self to Work. Now, for those of you who have followed my channel for some time, you may recognize the phrase, bring your authentic self to work, or bring your whole self to work, as it is sometimes rendered. I have various theories on this practice, but let me give you my baseline before we get into this, because I don't know what our speaker is going to say. She might actually just go along with my mindset, which would be something. Bring your authentic self to work, bring your whole self to work. What that seems to imply in the presentations I've seen in the past is the intentional erosion of professional distance, to put it bluntly. To put it more broadly, it is an attempt to integrate your real life, your personal life, your private life, with your life inside of the workplace. Bring your authentic self to work is often followed up with a promise by companies that they have ERGs, or employee resource groups. And what are employee resource groups? Well, they are internal private clubs, oftentimes, that are delineated by oftentimes race, gender, sexual orientation, sometimes veteran status, sometimes parental status, that kind of thing. But they're categorized mostly by those things that promote diversity. And so your life, your personal life, your identity becomes entwined with your life at work. And the notion is, or at least the road to hell paved with good intentions is, we want everyone to feel welcome. We want everyone to feel comfortable, like they can be themselves here, like they can bring their authentic self to work. But what I think is more insidious as a byproduct of that is that the line between your life and your professional life is blurred almost to oblivion, if not completely. And as a consequence of this, if you are involved with the company's ERGs or other programs, or you're essentially acting as an advocate for your company on your free time, then you're never really off the clock. And there are a whole bunch of other dangers that I think are inherent to this mindset and this philosophy at work, but I've done videos on that in the past. Anyway, that is, long story short, too late, I know, my baseline on the phrase, bring your authentic self to work. So if our speaker is advocating to not bring your authentic self to work, and her definition of what that phrase means is anywhere similar to my own, then maybe we'll be on the same track. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. So get your bingo cards ready. Card is C today. C as in cat. So get your bingo cards ready. We'll see if we go through this. And just as a note, because of what happened at the last TEDXcellence, where it became the second or third inductee into the WTF Hall of Fame, and I didn't have an alert noise for that. I have created an alert noise for whatever the next WTF presentation is. Now, this could be it for all I know. Hopefully not, because that would just frustrate me. But on the chance that it isn't, for those of you who are dying to know what it is, I'll be playing that at the end of the show, if not earlier, if we decide that this is a WTF presentation. So all that is preamble. First few seconds for sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear this, and then we will proceed.
So picture this.
Okay, picture what? You guys hear that? Picture this. Let's see. Anyone hear that? Alas, we can hear it. Sounds good, says Mike R. Ryan R. Alas, yes. Saint Michael sounds good. All right, all the Michaels, all the R's, all y'all. Did I miss any chance a Mike Savage in here somewhere? No, Mike. As far as I can tell. All right, I mean, make sure. And is Lexi Mads here yet? If she's not, I don't see her. Okay, well, maybe she'll show up late. She's usually late. All right, here we go.
Your friend calls to invite you to a party this Saturday.
Okay.
They say, yes, I totally understand that Saturday is Halloween, but trust me, it's not a Halloween party. October 31st just happens to be the best day when everyone is in town. Now,
okay, this story is already a little convoluted. I'm sorry, I just cut her off a little bit. Okay, invited to a party on the 31st, but it's not a Halloween party. It's just convenient. Okay.
Best day when everyone is in town.
Yeah.
No. You don't have to wear a costume. It's not going to be like that at all. Just come as you are.
Uh-huh.
A party with your friends on Halloween,
yes,
without having to go through all the trouble of finding a costume. A costume, mind you, you'll never wear again. Oh, you'll be there.
Aha. Costume you'll never wear again. Okay. I'm not quite.
So Saturday is here.
Yes.
You head on over in your favorite faded jeans and the stylish enough top, quite frankly, you've been lounging in all day.
Okay.
You knock on the door.
Yes.
Out steps these bright red boots, the perfect accessory to your friend's Wonder Woman costume.
Uh-oh, you were lied to. Is that it? I mean, okay. And for those of you in the chat who are going like anecdote that never happened or mind read, this is all some weird hypothetical, so I can't really credit it that way yet. But let's see where she goes with the story, and then we'll decide whether or not this is analogous to something.
Wonder is the exact description of the look on your face.
Uh-huh.
As you enter the house,
yes,
your eyes dart across a number of cartoon characters, uniformed professionals, and some unfortunate impersonations of the latest celebrities.
Unfortunate. Okay.
You look to your friend for answers?
Yes.
But they're gathering the final votes for the costume contest.
Uh-huh.
A costume contest.
Mm-hmm.
You, of course, receive no votes.
Of course!
Do you feel that? That feeling that you have right now?
No.
The anxiety, the upset, and bewilderment as to how you came to be the odd one out for just doing what you were told.
Okay, she's talking to the audience, and so I'm going to circle mind reading assumes motives just for the heck of it. Circling free space and where did I put mind reading on this one? There it is. Mind reading assumes motives. Okay. Yeah, all right. So weird party thing, and point being?
To come as you are.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel when I am told to bring my full, authentic self to work.
Okay, so when you're told to bring your full authentic self to work, you feel like you showed up and were lied to. Okay, all right. How so?
We want people of color to feel like they belong here,
Uh-huh.
they say.
Yes.
We're looking for passionate people who can bring a fresh perspective to challenge our way of thinking,
Yeah.
they say.
Yes.
Our diversity is our strength, they say.
Yes. Who's they, by the way? And so far, at least in her attitude and sarcasm, I don't disagree, but I don't know where she's going.
Come just as you are,
Yes.
they say.
Yes.
Recruiters,
Yeah.
managers,
Yes.
executives, CEOs.
Yes.
All those responsible for making decisions.
Yes.
They say quite a lot. And perhaps for good reason. It's long been the expectation for people like me who have been grossly, often intentionally, underrepresented at work to contort ourselves into this caricature of what some call professionalism.
Okay. Well, I'm circling plays victim. She's been, targeted intentionally, etc. Some call professional. Where are we go? I am very curious, because on the surface, she seems to be challenging the very sort of high, lofty notions that, well, I often challenge, but I don't know what she means.
And what we call a distorted elaboration of white cultural norms and the standards that meet the comforts of those who hold social and institutional power.
Oh, professionalism is whiteness. Is that it? Okay. All right. Sure. Okay. So what is your definition then of professionalism?
That's professionalism.
Uh-huh.
The invitation to bring our full, authentic selves to work signals that this place could be the place to safely shed the guise. We could collect the parts of ourselves we've compartmentalized and trust that our differences will be seen as assets, not liabilities.
Well, that is the PR of it, yes. Both for the virtue signaling and, dare I say, the insurance insulation against litigation of discrimination or bias or something. Sure. Okay. Well, I'm wondering when the other shoe is going to drop here.
Seated in this call for authenticity is this idea that those who don't have to spend all their energy hiding parts of themselves could find more fulfillment at work.
Oh, Kieverdam says systemic institutional. Did she say institutional in there? She must have, right? My brain was just like, oh, there's Lexi Mads. Well, no, we're not going to rewind. We're 3 minutes in. If it was 17 seconds or something, maybe, but we're 3 minutes in, so you're just going to have to suffer. Let's see. Did she say systemic institutional? She said institutional. Yeah, okay, I got you. Systemic institutional. Appreciate the backup on that. Sometimes my mind just I just stare off into space listening to them sometimes. Oh, yes, and diversity and inclusion. Yes, you're very... I'm so mesmerized waiting for what's going to happen next. Okay, so for reference, on the board, we've got diversity and inclusion, plays victim, mind reading assumes motives, free space, systemic institutional. Let's go over the whole card real quick just to make sure. Marginalize, marginalization. Not yet. I mean, she's intimated to it, but not yet. I kind of put that with the plays victim thing. Collectivize his own demographic. Yes. Yes, she has. Leaves out vital context. I'll wait for something more specific. Feminism, no. Microaggressions, unconscious bias, not yet. Anecdote that probably never happened, not yet. Contradicts own pointer argument. She hasn't made a pointer argument yet. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase, not yet. Word salad. I've understood what she said so far. Benevolent condescension, not yet. A list, no. Patriarchy, no. Wage gap, no. Privilege. Has she said privilege? I mean, she's gotten close. We'll see. Childhood or family anecdote, not yet. Self-vilification or wretchedness, I'd be surprised. Equity, not yet. Weightless example, not yet. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. It's the for no reason part. We'll see what happens. And white supremacy, not yet. Although she's, like I said, intimated to it. We'll go. We still have 12 minutes in this thing, so all right, here we go.
The expectation is that the more we could just be ourselves, perhaps, just maybe, others will follow suit. The hope is that soon enough, the culture of the entire organization will shift.
Yes.
Becoming more inclusive and welcoming of difference.
That is the intention, at least stated or otherwise, and that is the goal, even if they're writing the line between legality most of the time. But yes, that's what they say they are doing. That is what they say they are attempting to do, to make everyone feel welcome, to make everyone feel as though they don't have to be ashamed of themselves, and so on and so forth, which all sounds really good. And depending on the company, the culture, the product, the business, maybe it makes sense. But all across the board, again, the erosion of professional distance between your real life and your work life. But she's complaining about the disingenuous nature of some of these programs, which I don't disagree with. They are very suspect in my mind, but okay.
My type of difference. So I show up to work as I am.
Yeah.
With my afro, my family photos, my disability accommodation needs, my questions, my pushback, my perspective grounded in the lived experience of all my identities.
You sound like the perfect candidate for these diversity and inclusion programs, as I've heard them described to me over and over and over again. Yes, okay, and then what?
I show up with this full, authentic self to perform my job with excellence.
Yes.
But when the time comes for the stretch projects, the promotion, equal pay, recognition, mentors, sponsors, I'm overlooked.
Wage gap. I was not expecting that, but okay. You're overlooked because everyone is racist and or sexist? Or were you doing the same amount of work? Were you making an impression? Should you be promoted simply on the basis of your aesthetics and or your biological makeup or your attitude or your productivity? I'm curious to find out if she tells us.
You need to work on being more of a team player, they say.
Are they wrong?
Your approach makes it difficult to work with you.
Are they wrong?
They say. Try to help others feel more comfortable around you, they say.
Are they wrong?
You are hurting your relationships at work when you talk about racism, they say.
Are they wrong?
No promotion.
Okay, well, if you're going to work and you're accusing people of being racist because reasons, yeah, it's going to be difficult to try to put you up into a position of leadership if everyone below you is going to have to be fearful that anything they say or do is going to cause you to turn into a racist accuser every 3 seconds. Yeah, so I circled plays victim earlier, and I wasn't wrong, but okay. Let me back up a little bit because I did cut her off slightly.
No promotion.
Yeah.
No mentor, no votes. We cannot compete in the costume contest.
We? No. You. They were talking to you.
Without a costume and expect to win. The call to brave work with more authenticity undeservedly disadvantages people of color.
Right.
those of us who are already burdened with the task of chronically battling bias. With precision, the work to shift culture is designed to cost us our own mental and physical health.
Right. Thank you, Redneck Ram. Perhaps she isn't all she thinks she is. Maybe she is just average at her job and isn't that deserving of promotion. Nah, couldn't be that. Well, first off, she's being told, and again, I'm just taking her at her word. She's being told that her attitude, her interactions with other people makes her difficult to work with. And if you're difficult to work with, you're not going to be on the fast track for a leadership position because you're not leadership material at that point. And if you think, quote unquote, bringing your authentic self to work means I'm going to go to work and I'm going to be a race baiting inquisitor all the time, and that's cool, and that's what they want me to do, and that'll be acceptable. Well, here's the thing. The hypocrisy of the companies that say this stuff, this is what they asked for. Okay, now our speaker is playing the victim. Our speaker is going beyond the boundaries of reasonableness in the professional sphere, in the workplace. But here's the thing. Is she wrong? Because even though it sounds like she's, promoting herself higher than she's actually probably worth in the workplace because of her attitude, the fact is the company asked for it. Right? Companies that promote these diversity inclusion programs say bring your whole self to work. They don't know what they're asking for. I mean, they're almost saying, as she's implying, let down all filters. Just be whatever you want to be as you would be in your real life. Well, I assume they are sorry that they asked for it. So this is kind of an interesting TEDx talk because I agree with her if they are saying one thing and then coming at her from another direction. On the flip side, there's a sense of rationale that doesn't make any sense for either party. But let's continue.
If who we are makes us as difficult, as they say, then this demand for our authenticity compromises our careers.
Okay, again, it's not we and it's not our, it's you. This story is about you. I mean, if you want to talk about your lived experience, fine, makes sense. This is a story about you being told, bring your whole self to work, you doing so, and that not lining up with their expectations of you for advancement and so on. Okay, that is a legitimate story. Every time you say we, every time you say our, you've lost it. You've lost the plot. It's not about we, it's about you. You can't dodge your own responsibility here. Now, here's the thing. I would be very surprised that even in a company that promotes a authentic self, whole self philosophy, that there are not company standards or a dress code or things like that, that there is still some guidelines of conduct that go into things. And it's still a business. It's still a business with a hierarchy, with relationships between people and so on. If you do not exert leadership qualities, if you are difficult to work with, being your whole self, well, maybe your whole self needs an adjustment and not the culture around you. But again, this is what companies are asking for to a certain extent. If they don't put barriers on what their expectations are, if they just say, hey, whatever you want to do, everything's fine, we're not going to judge, and then they judge because they have to because they're a business, they've set themselves up. So earlier she said bias. She did say the word bias. She didn't say unconscious bias. Well, put that in the back of my mind for perhaps aggregate consideration at the end of the stream. Remember, guys, unless we see either a specific use of the phrase or something that is undeniably represented in one of the squares, we'll set it aside as a possible example for making an argument at the end. So keep that in mind.
Listen, the fact is this. One person or even a few people coming just as we are cannot change company culture.
You're right, I guess, depending on how big the company is, but okay. Is that the goal, though, to change company culture? Because it's still a company, first and foremost. It's still a business with a bottom line and things that have to get done. So do you put any of those considerations into your calculus, or is it all just the me show starring me, all me?
How would change happen alongside rewards for coded definitions of fit? What difference would it make to allege a value for diversity without sustaining evidence of that value in any meaningful way?
Okay, now she has a point. She has a point because as you know, watching my videos, what diversity means, company to company, institution to institution, person to person, has no firm definition. And so if the company says we promote diversity and inclusion, but they don't go to any effort to define that, if they start putting guidelines on what that means and barriers on that on what that means, are they really asking for your authentic self, your whole self? No, it's total window dressing. That's all it is. It's all it ever will be. So, like I say, her complaints are not illegitimate. Her attitude, it doesn't surprise me she hasn't been promoted.
We know what we're up against. Authenticity has become a palatable proxy to mask the pressing need to end the racism, ageism, ableism, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia, and the like that run rampant throughout our professional lives.
No, authenticity is the attempt by corporations to try to stave off accusations of such things. It's all a show. It's all a virtue signal. It's all an attempt to avoid bad public relations. That's all it is. And in the process of this, of course, in order to fulfill these requirements, these diversity quotas and so on and so forth, they end up discriminating people on the basis of their aesthetics rather than on their merits, because it's the aesthetics that people see. You can't see merit necessarily. And so all the intentions of doing good end up just implementing the same mechanisms of bad that they say they're against. But at the end of the day, they're not so concerned about that as long as they can show to a court, in case somebody brings a lawsuit against them, see our rampant diversity program, we don't discriminate. So a little bit of a mixed reality here.
Without accountability to examine these systems of bias and power, the call for authenticity fails. It fails to question who is in the room, who sits at that table, and who gets to be heard.
So let me get this straight. A company that does not have any kind of diversity and inclusion program is obviously suspect, right? Because they're not saying that they're doing things in order to be more inclusive and diverse. So obviously, they're hiding something. But those companies that do say we're diverse and inclusive, they're also doing it wrong because it's just a sheen, it's just a coating over the truth, which is that they're still a company with goals and bottom lines and so on and so forth. And of course, since racism runs rampant through everything and everyone at all times 24/7, you have to be anti-racist in order to recognize that even the best showing of somebody trying to be diverse and inclusive is actually just another expression of racism. Do I have that right? I think that's probably what I have right. Dr. Keefe says, a list. Was that a list? Does that count as a list?
It fails to demand that we reveal the truth.
You know what? That is a list. That is a list. It took me a second. I was like, yeah. Okay. Isms and phobias. That's right. Okay. All right. Legit. Just for reference, on the bingo card, I have circled collectivize his own demographic, diversity and inclusion, plays victim, mind reading assumes motives, free space, a list, wage gap, and systemic systemic institutional. Let's move on.
About how racism
Yes.
impacts decisions about who's in the room.
Right. So any decision that goes against your interests or doesn't go your way is obviously racist because you're black, or obviously sexist because you're female. Is that it? It couldn't be a decision of your attitude actually does not comport with what we need for leadership material. No. It must be racist. Okay, because even in a company, whether they have a diversity inclusion program or not, there are some pragmatic requirements necessary to move people upward in the chain of command. Attitude, getting along with other people, and or expressing leadership qualities are usually those things, unless we're talking like total nepotism, which does happen. Okay.
Who sits at that table?
That table, yes.
And who gets to be heard?
Yes, who gets to be heard?
What many people of color find is that even when we are in the room,
yes,
sitting at that table.
Oh, wait, how could you be sitting at that table? If racism and or sexism persists all over the place, how could you ever get to that table? Okay, so there are examples of you all, since you're collectivizing everything, getting to the table. Oh, okay, well then what happens?
Stating firmly, I am speaking. Very few people are actually listening.
Oh, because everybody's racist. Right. Okay. The fact that you keep, projecting whatever it is that has happened to you onto we and our really tells me it's a you thing. It really does. Ryan R. contradicts own argument. Oh, with the getting to the table part? I want to wait. I just want to wait a little longer. Just a little longer. I just have this feeling there's going to be a much more clear example coming up. I haven't watched this. We're only halfway through, but she's on a roll. So again, hold that one in storage if we need to come back to it for aggregate at the end.
It can start to feel like our bodies are wanted in the room, but not our voices.
Okay, well, again, that is a legitimate complaint about diversity and inclusion programs that promote identity versus merit, that promote aesthetic versus personal worth and value and skill. So she's not wrong. Her interpretation of her role in the world and elsewise is skewed, but she's not wrong about how companies are actually looking at these programs.
Look, I know what that's like. A couple years ago.
We're getting to an anecdote. All right, here we go.
At the end of a senior leadership brainstorming meeting.
Yes.
I was called into an unscheduled check-in with an executive. She sounded enthusiastic about how my contributions helped move the project forward. So it surprised me when she then suggested that in future meetings, I should try to be more agreeable to help give others a win.
Do you notice how every example of her being denied something or otherwise keeps coming down to her people skills? Over and over and over again. Nothing else. It's always her people skills, which are obviously just code for you're black or you're female. It's nothing to do with her attitude, nothing to do with her personality. It's obviously racism. There's nothing that she needs to think about. There's nothing that she needs to correct or anything. No. For the sake of the workplace, no. It's all someone being racist or sexist or looking down on her for what she is. Just want to, now, so far, I don't disbelieve the anecdote. I'm probably going to disagree with her interpretation.
If I did have feedback, she advised that I send it over email instead. Honestly, I was taken aback.
Were you?
Like, here I was feeling like my contributions mattered.
Well, sometimes they don't. I don't know what to tell you. You were corrected, and you couldn't handle it, and you took it as a racial insult.
That my seat at that table had proved pivotal to the success of our work together.
Really? Wow.
Excitedly, I felt a lightness, ideating alongside my colleagues without reserve.
Okay, and again, there is an element of truth to her complaint. If you go along the theory that diversity and inclusion programs are primarily to improve the aesthetic of the workplace, to avoid any accusations of bias, racism, and so on, and you put somebody into a room at a table mainly because they look the part that they're trying to promote, but that person either isn't qualified to be there or doesn't have anything to offer, but you also don't want to tell them that they're only there because they fit the aesthetic. How do you walk around those eggshells without something like this happening? She has a legitimate complaint here. At the same time, I don't necessarily believe that she has no attitude problem.
The work was riveting. So I opted outside of my usual guardedness. I stopped hiding my opinions.
Okay. So maybe it's a combination. Yeah.
I worried less about those constricted norms of how I should express myself.
So you made a conscious choice to speak out of turn and cop an attitude in a professional workplace. Okay. All right. I appreciate your candor.
For the first time, I felt like I could take off that costume so many of us have to wear.
Yeah.
Clearly, that was a mistake.
Yeah. Dropping all professionalism because obviously that's just something imposed by the white man. All of a sudden, then, I stepped out of bounds.
At the end of her comments, I tried to keep it real with her. I said,
well, I wonder, it's interesting to me that she hasn't mentioned our executive's race in this anecdote. I would have thought that'd be primary to her complaint.
Your advice is consistent with the way women of color, Black women especially, are treated at work.
No. God, this is so frustrating. You are not Black women. Okay? You are not a monolith. You are not representative of anyone but you. Every anecdote you have given thus far, every sidewise example has been someone critiquing your behavior, your conduct. Now, you might want to just brush it off and say, oh, they're not actually talking about my conduct. I'm perfect in every way. They're really just being racist. You can do that, I guess. You'd be wrong, but you can do that. But at the same time, stop pretending that you represent a demographic. You do not. Thank you, Pecoraro, the Driving Ape Man. It's not attitude, it's being sassy. I don't know.
Her response fit perfectly into this 3-step framework I've now come to know as darvo.
Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. I've never heard of this before, but I'm circling that anyway. All right, tell me the 3 steps of darvo.
Deny, attack, reverse the victim with the offender.
Ooh, deny, attack, reverse the victim with the offender. So that's what you do, is it? You know, I think your attitude doesn't quite fit with a leadership position. My attitude is fine. You're the one discriminating against me because I'm Black. I'm the victim. You're the offender. Is that it? Is that it? Are you describing your own mental process throughout the workplace? Oh, Do you think there'll be any kind of self-reflection on this point? Do you think? Oh, I can't wait. Thank you, John Miller. So be a bully? I would hate working with her. Yeah.
Darvo sounds like this.
Yes. Your entire talk thus far, I could just replay the last 9 minutes.
Jody Ann, this has nothing to do with your race.
Uh-huh.
Deny.
Oh, okay. So obviously it does have to do with your race. Okay, they're lying. Okay.
You're just being too sensitive and angry. Attack.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing, though. That second part right there, you're denying the possibility that it is your attitude. Okay. So you got your D down. What's your attack?
You know, if you're going to play the race card, every time I try to give you feedback, it's going to make it really hard for us to work together.
And I believe it. I believe it. I believe that every time she gets a criticism in her professional life or elsewise, she flips that back around on its head and says, "You're just being racist." I believe it. There is so many grains of truth in this story of hers. I believe it.
I just want you to be successful here.
So they're obviously lying. Okay.
I'm just trying to support you.
Right. They're lying, obviously.
Who's the victim now?
I don't know. How about all the people you're accusing of being racists first and foremost? How about you walking into someone else's space and because you don't like the way they look, you don't like the way they talk to you, you don't like their attitude, whatever else, you decide to accuse them of being racist against you because you're unhappy. Maybe they're the victim. Ever thought of that? Maybe? Just a little bit? Possibly? Maybe?
Her attempts to gaslight me, to psychologically manipulate me.
Psychologically manipulate you. Psychologically manipulate you, gaslight you. Wow, okay. That's interesting, coming from someone who goes around using the race card a lot.
And to questioning my own reality was futile.
Questioning, yeah, that's exactly. Your reality is not necessarily the reality you're walking through. Bring your whole self to work does not mean I'm going to bring my reality of how the world works with me. But again, that is partially the fault of the companies saying they have these wide open door policies to who you are, and they get what they paid for.
Even then, in that moment,
yeah,
I knew that my experience was not unique.
Oh, right. You are the demographic. You are legion. You represent everybody, right? You're not alone. You're speaking on behalf of an entire demographic who, okay.
For too many Black women and other people of color, people living with disabilities, non-binary people, deaf people,
wow,
LGBTQIA plus people,
wow,
and others among us.
Us? What? So are you all of those things? Real? Are you all? Wow. You know what's really interesting? Even if that's so, even if you could say that she's part of all of those demographics, that says nothing about who you are. It really doesn't. And if you're going to collectivize yourself into an intersectional victimhood, I guess you'll always be a victim. And anytime anybody criticizes you, it'll always be for something you have no control over, and they're being a racist, sexist, ableist, ageist, homophobe, whatever. Thank you, Andrew James. More like they got what they were paid for. Well, I'm really curious to know about the long-term effects of some of these authentic self, whole self to work philosophies at some of these companies. But I've discussed that in other videos. So thank you, Andrew.
That are constantly featured on the "Come Work With Us"
yes.
section on company websites.
Yes. Okay. Yes. The come work with us stuff, the whole self, authentic self. We are LGBTQ plus positive, and so on and so forth. We are a equal employment opportunity employer, but especially if you're of this demographic versus that demographic. Yes, I see that all the time. You're right. Yeah. But here's the thing. They're asking for types of people. They're not asking for your attitude. But then I suppose it's very difficult to separate your attitude as an individual from your multiple aesthetic identities, since these things are all intertwined now. Thank you, Lady Gopher, for the dancing dog cat fox. Oh, dog cat fox. Hey, dog cat fox, how you doing today? Wowie, wow, wow. He's doing pretty good. Thank you, Lady Gopher.
We know this
No.
harsh reality intimately.
No. We know.
Being authentic privileges those already part of the dominant culture.
Oh, privilege. Got privilege. Is that like got milk? Got privilege. Circling privilege on the board.
It is much easier to be who you are when who you are is all around you.
What does that mean?
Coming just as we are when we're the first, the only, the different, or one of the few can prove too risky. So we wear the costume.
Oh boy. Yeah, and this is part of the problem, like I said, with synergizing, to use a corporate word, the aesthetic with the personal by making identity politics primary to your business philosophy, or at least your stated business philosophy. But most importantly, when you're doing it like our speaker is, by combining her biological realities with her attitude and calling it all one thing that she can be offended by if it's ever questioned or criticized. My attitude, you're obviously racist, because my race is my identity and is my attitude because of my race. Therefore, anything you criticize has to be, or I can turn it around to be, my race. Thank you again, Piccolo. It means no accountability. It does do that too. It does do that too. Mike R. and several others make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. It's the for no reason part. I don't agree with her reasoning, but she has a reason for bringing it up. That's the one to stumble over right now. Now, I'm willing by the end of this, if she says nothing else, to go for the professionalism is whiteness thing that she brought up at the beginning, because that's nonsense. But I'm waiting to see, because so far there's a reason for it. Let's just wait. I know I'm being a stickler here, but let's just wait.
We keep the truer parts of ourselves hidden. We straighten our curly hair for interviews.
What?
We pick up hobbies we do not enjoy.
So you lie?
We restate our directives as optional suggestions. We talk about the weather instead of police brutality. We mourn for Breonna Taylor alone. We ignore the racist comments our supervisor makes. We stop correcting our mispronounced names. We ask fewer questions. We learn to say nothing.
What do you mean we? Look, if you're making all those choices for whatever reason, you are doing that. As if I necessarily believe all of that, but anyway.
And smile.
Because here's the thing. Since you take any criticism that comes your way as racist, I really have to question whether or not your supervisor saying something quote unquote racist actually is racist, because you seem to take anything as racist. You seem to go out of your way to seek out racism in the workplace, as you've mentioned to us over and over and over again, as though you've been victimized by those accusations. And I'm sure they're just accusing you of that out of whole cloth and came out of nowhere based on nothing, even though you keep saying it. Okay.
We omit parts of our stories. We erase parts of ourselves.
No. Your personal life doesn't matter. Here's the thing. When you come to work, first and foremost, you have a job to do. Okay? Unless your personal life is like, if you come to work and you just had a loved one die, okay? That is a real life situation that anybody can have sympathy for, and there are mechanisms in place in most businesses to account for that. All right. But if you're having a bad day and you come to work and you bring that bad day with you, you have crossed the line. You are there to do your job. Your real life is not your job's problem. And yes, like I say, she has a legitimate complaint in that when these companies say bring your whole self to work, they don't seem to understand what they're asking for. Because ultimately, if you try to intertwine someone's real life with their work life, you are going to have these problems where people don't know where the boundary is. They're told there are no boundaries. The erosion of professional distance is detrimental to everyone in the workplace.
Our histories and present realities show this
matter
to be the best path for success.
How? Okay, then how are you succeeding? I thought you were being denied everything.
But now our society is reaching a new tipping point.
Oh, okay. What's the new tipping point?
Inequities, racism, and bigotry are finding fewer places to cower.
Really? Because I'm told it's everywhere, all the time, in everyone, at every moment. You're either racist or anti-racist, but you're never not racist. So you don't adhere to the anti-racism philosophy?
Silences are becoming harder to keep.
Oh, okay.
Our most radical collective imaginations for racial justice are reaching new possibilities.
Collective. Right.
And so I'm asking.
Yes.
That we, the people.
Oh, wait. Which we, the people, are you talking about? Because you seem to be making distinctions between who does and who does not count in your reality. So who is we now? I'm curious to know.
Who have and continue to be denied inclusion in that refrain.
Inclusion in that refrain. What? You're edging on word salad.
Dedicate the authentic fullness of who we are to that work.
Word salad. Word salad. And I know, looking at the board, benevolent condescension. It's so easy right now, right? Because she collectivizes everybody and calls them all victims just like she is. It's very easy to just say, should probably circle that one. And you know what? You'd be right.
Bingo. What? Of course!
Yes, we have our first bingo across the center. Word salad to a list. I cannot deny that is certainly a bingo. So bingo number one. Let's see if we get to another.
The work of making space everywhere for who we are to breathe.
Oh boy, all the buzzwords in this one.
But just for a moment.
Yes.
Let me step away from that work to tell the rest of you this.
Who's the rest of us? Thank you, Killer Turnus. Here, have some of the table scraps considered my stimulus check. Gonna watch from beginning. Thank you so much, Turnus. Yeah, this has been, we're not done yet. A couple minutes left. This has been an interesting one. I'll talk more about it, of course, at the end. Thank you so much.
Black people
yes,
do not need to be any more authentic.
Because they're all the same or something?
So no. This Black, disabled, immigrant woman
Black disabled immigrant woman. Well, here's the thing. Once again, none of those things say anything about who you are. Only what you are. And what you are is not special.
Will not be bringing her full, authentic self to work.
Really? Are you really going to be able to restrain yourself from thinking everything and everyone who says anything or does anything you don't agree with as racist? Are you really going to be keeping a lid on that? Because I was hearing you just a minute ago saying you're not going to be silent. You regretted being quiet, and on and on and on. I mean, I almost might think you're contradicting your own point or argument. And I think even if the previous examples didn't account, this one does. So circling that one.
But she is asking that you.
Asking?
Those of you with the power of your positions.
Positions?
And the protection of your whiteness.
Oh! I think that counts as white supremacy. I'm going to circle white supremacy. Oh my gosh, lady.
And other societal privileges you did not earn.
Uh-huh.
To take on that risk instead.
Oh, okay.
There's an opportunity in this movement for change for you to do just that.
Right.
Change.
Yeah, change. Change to conform to where you get a promotion and are never criticized, right?
Not your hearts and minds.
Oh.
Close the gap between what you say and how we're treated.
Oh, okay.
Change your decisions. Make working effectively across racial and cultural differences a core competency in hiring and performance management for everyone.
What is that supposed to mean? I would love an active example of what that looks like in the hiring process. I really would. I would love to know what she means by core competency in hiring in regards to these things, because that's always where you're walking a fine line. I'd be very curious to know if she ever goes off on that further, but probably not in the next minute.
Define good product design as one that centers the most underserved people.
Why? Why wouldn't I want the product to go to the most wide audience? General wide, WIDE, just for those of you, the broadest audience, the broadest consumer base. Thank you, Wade Waleson. She knows a lot about receiving privileges that weren't earned. Yeah, she seems to know a lot about how much she's a victim, doesn't she?
Close the racial gender pay gap.
Oh well, we already did wage gap, so okay, close it. Just close it. Right? Okay. How?
Starting first with Latinx women.
Latinx? Why them first? Why should we give them preference?
Build responsive people systems to manage racial conflict with equity and justice.
Equity? Did she say equity? She did. Oh my God. She said equity. Do you know what that means?
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
I clicked the wrong thing. I clicked the wrong thing. That was supposed to be the bingo noise. Let me try it again.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Right?
Yeah!
That was the what the fuck prize alert noise. I was going to do that at the end of the show, but I just accidentally clicked the wrong window. Well, there you go. You got a free preview. I'll do it again. But anyway, second bingo, double bingo. Oh my gosh. Equity. Okay, we still got a minute left or so. Can we get anything else?
These aren't the decisions that shift culture, but rather a tiny sample of the expansive possibilities of what you can actually do.
Because I'm white?
Today.
Yeah.
In your next meeting.
Yeah.
To realize the hope for racial equity.
Because all white people have power, all white people are at the table, and all white people need to help all non-white people because non-white people can't succeed without the help of white people. Do I have that right?
You do the work.
I'll do the work. I'll do the work. You just keep having your attitude, and somehow those two things will even out.
To make it safe for me to come just as I am with my full, authentic self.
It's got to be safe for me to come into your corporation and be a race inquisitor. Make it safe for me to do that.
That's your job, not mine.
Oh, okay. It's my job to make it safe for you to bring your attitude to work and not receive any repercussions for it. Wow, I have never felt more privileged.
It's your party, not mine.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess you don't have to come, do you?
You set the rules and rewards.
Oh, I do. Because I'm white? Oh, okay. All right. So now it's your turn to set the rules and rewards because you're not white. What?
So I'm asking you.
Why are you asking? Shouldn't you be demanding? Shouldn't this constant institutional disparity just come to an end? Why are you asking? Why are you taking such a deferential role here?
What will it take to win in your contest? Thank you.
Wow. Wowie, wow, wow. Golly gee whiz, kids. That was something else. That was something else. All right, let's go over the bingo card real quick. And then I'll do a little bit more commentary. Marginalization. Oh, she all but said it several times, didn't she? Oh, she did, didn't she? I think she did. In the aggregate, I cannot deny it. I really can't. So, I think you know what that means.
Bingo. What? Of course!
Triple bingo. Oh my gosh. All right, leaves out vital context. I don't feel that, I mean, you can make the argument, but in every anecdote, I think she was telling the truth. I think that the people that were criticizing her were actually saying those things, and that she was repeating them back because she honestly believes that they were code words for being racist. So I tend to believe her. If you have an example of leaves out vital context and argument, hold on to it. Give me a second to go over the card, then we'll go over it. Feminism. I mean, if I was being very generous, and I'm not there yet, but if I was being very generous, she kept saying have to center Black women or Latinx women and so on. You could make the argument that she was making a feminist play, but I'm going to sit back on that one. That'll have to be something argued to me. Microaggressions and conscious bias. She brought out bias a lot. She alluded to microaggressions with the supervisor saying, actually, you know what? Given the fact that everything that came her way that was a criticism, she decided to interpret as racism, she made everything into a microaggression. So I'm gonna give that one right there. All right, yeah, I think that's fair. I think given the totality of her presentation, I think that's fair. Anecdote that probably never happened. I believe every anecdote she gave us. I did not hear a single perfect anecdote for the moment. She thought that the perfect anecdote she was giving was true, but I think that actually, someone criticizing her, I think that happened. I don't think she said anything that was untrue. The interpretation of it, I think, was flipped. But I don't know that she was being disingenuous in her anecdotes necessarily. Patriarchy. Truth be told, she didn't bring up men much at all in this. White people, yes. But men, no, not so much. People with power. Childhood or family anecdote. She never spoke about her childhood, and so far as I recall, she never spoke about her family, so can't do that one. Self-vilification or wretchedness. You're not going to convince me of that one. You're not going to convince me of that one. Plays victim, yes. Collectivizes demographics, sure. Self-vilifies, no. She was practically perfect in every way. Weightless example. Oh, I know there's got to be a good argument for a weightless example in there somewhere, but I'm fuzzing on it right now. So chat, you'll have to get me on that one. And then make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. I am going back to her first statement regarding professionalism and how that is somehow a white concept. I mean, there's probably plenty of examples in that, but that was the primary one that really made me go, no, sorry. No, you do not pass go, do not get $1 million, no. Okay, so that is the card as I have it. I will take arguments for squares not yet circled. Now, let's see. John Miller, I don't believe they happened in the way she portrayed it. Well, here's the thing. None of them were self-serving. She relayed them and interpreted them as self-serving to her argument of victimization. But I don't disbelieve the overall tone of the interactions that she had. My only conflict, I guess, is with her taking it on as I'm the victim, rather than somebody actually trying to be helpful, but I can't accept the possibility that I'm not practically perfect in every way. Let's see. Mike R. Feminism, scribe light. Wage gap pretty much synonymous with feminism. She did bring up the gender racial wage gap. It's true, but that's wage gap. I'm going to need a really, really firm argument because we've already covered that in other things. Feminism is very specific. She never brought up the word, so you're going to have to give me something more than that. Ryan R's, anecdote that never happened. She said her boss told her to back off so other people can get a win. Unless she was attacking the boss or the boss's crony, didn't happen. That's a very fine distinction. Like I say, I don't disbelieve that she was criticized. And that's a very specific phrase that was used. And trying to interpret what that meant. Because if she was talking over other people all the time, if she was letting her attitude out, et cetera, and so forth, and not letting anybody else get a word in edgewise, that could have been just them trying to say, hey, maybe give other people a chance to speak in a polite way, or at least their attempt to be polite. Like I say, I don't disbelieve the anecdotes. It's all about the interpretation. Mike R., her one-on-one talk with her manager anecdote that never happened. Now, like I say, I don't disbelieve that. I don't disbelieve that she was criticized. I can't say, obviously, whether it was verbatim, but the anecdote did not serve to perfectly promote her argument. You know, it sounded real to me. Let's see. Snow Pilot, Scribe Light. Her entire thing centered on women, not one mention of males. That's feminism. There is an argument for that because there is a there's a brand of feminism out there called Black feminism, also white feminism, and so on. And I could, like I say, I'm trying to be. What's his face? She also cited Latinx one with no reasoning as to why things must start with them. That's a weightless example. Scribe Light. Or that leaves out vital context. I could see either way. It wasn't an example. It was, yeah. And you know what? I'll circle leaves out vital context for that one because that was definitely a like why specifically. Well, unless she's talking about herself, of course, because I think she was trying to imply that she said she was an immigrant. So is that leaving out vital context? Because this is all very self-serving. John Miller, crosses leg. Tell us more about Black feminism. I've done more than a few videos of people telling me about Black feminism, so I can direct you to the experts. Okay. What was her disability, says Faithless? I have no idea. No clue. All right. You know what? Given the ambiguity of the leaves out vital context regarding Latinx women, because I think she was speaking about herself. I think she was speaking about a demographic she belongs to, because this has all been very self-serving. But she did bring up Black women, Latinx women, gender pay gap, and so on and so forth. Yep. In the aggregate, the overwhelming aggregate, I think feminism is not out of bounds. Therefore,
ooh, that's a bingo.
Right?
Yeah!
that's 4 bingos. We got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4. 4 bingos, quadruple bingo. All right. I will give the last couple of minutes here for any further arguments for squares not circled, but you're going to have to really knock it out of the park, because at this point, anything we put up here is going to get another bingo, pretty much. Almost. So I'll give it another 5 minutes or so, guys. Let's see. Dr. Key, 5 bingos. Did I miss one? Ooh, 5 bingos. Where's 5? I got 1 down, 2 down, 1 across, 1 diagonal. I already counted that one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4. That's not 5. Am I missing something? Am I completely blind here? Let me make sure I'm not completely out of whack here. Okay, so there's 1. I'm going to do a rough line draw here. 2, yep, 3, 4, right? No, not that. That. So yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the 5th one? Am I just completely blind here? 3 diagonals. 3 diagonals. No. 1. Besides which, you can only have 2 diagonals. So I'm confused. Am I missing something? Okay. Thank you, Piccolo, driving 8-man. Too bad she doesn't identify as mute. Ha 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 ha. Didn't I circle leaves out vital context? No, I didn't. I took it back because she mentioned the fact that she was Latinx at some point, and so bringing up Latinx was self-serving. It just seemed out of place at the moment, so I didn't circle leaves out vital context. Let's see. I apologize. You know, that was I took it back. I thought about it for a second, but I thought no, she made more of an argument for feminism than she did for something that lives out vital context. So yeah, no problem, Keeve, no problem. When did she say she was Latina? She said she was an immigrant, and I'm presuming since she was very self-serving that when she brought up Latinx women and she belonged to all these demographics, that's what she was talking about. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. I know, maybe that's far too generous, but given the circumstances, I was, just being as fair as I can be. Mr. No, is she Latina or Black? You can be both. You tell me the correct skin color for someone from Latin America. Well, Mr. No, I hate to tell you this. Okay. Let's see. Ryan R., that's a vital context scribe light. It was missing like all the votes a certain direction. I understood. That's all. I'm not. It's not a distinction that I'm willing to make, all things considered. Her anecdotes were believable. She didn't give us enough specifics to say we left out vital context, because most of her stuff was hypothetical or self-referential, and it's like, okay. Patriarchy, no. Childhood to family anecdote, no. Self-vilification, no way. Weightless example. I could see some case for weightless example somewhere in there, maybe. But Ryan R. Scribe, so are you engaging in mind reading of her now? No, I just took the totality of what she said. She was making a reference to herself. She kept referring to Black women collectively as representing her. She kept referring to disabled people as represented by her. Latinx women, she brought up, and I can only take that in the pattern of everything else as representative of her. So that's the context I took from it. Let's see. Kyler, I work with a lot of Latinos and Latinas. They run the gamut from very light to very dark. Yeah, you can be from Latin America and have a variety of skin colors if it matters. You know, from anything that is considered to be Latin America, which is a lot of places. Look up sometime how many places are counted amongst quote unquote Latin America. It runs the gamut. It really does. Lexi Mad, she didn't explain what she had done in the meeting to receive the feedback from her boss, Scribelight. She did, by the complaints of the supervisor, by, playing the race card, her attitude, and so on and so forth. I mean, that's why the anecdotes to me are believable, because they are self-criticizing, except that she's interpreting it as racism/sexism. So I think it's one of those things where she really thinks that we'll believe that the exact complaint she received have no weight to them, have no value. That's why I believe what she said. But I think I'm going to call it there, guys, as far as the bingos are concerned. We got 4 bingos. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. For a TEDx. I know we're right on the edge with several, but it's not a good bingo arrangement if I don't make myself strict sometimes. And that's it is. John Miller, I believe that she has twisted the anecdotes to favor her. She's twisted the interpretation. Again, her interpretation is very self-serving. The anecdotes themselves as relayed, I don't believe them to be inaccurate. That's the thing. That's the point. It's not and then everybody clapped, or my 5-year-old walked in and told me how nuclear proliferation needs to be reduced in order to protect ourselves from destruction, that kind of thing. That's sort of like the classic example, and nothing that she said rose to that level in my mind. But with all that being said, I said I would do so at the end of the show, and I already did accidentally. So this isn't a WTF winner, but as a preview, secondary preview of what will happen the next time we do come across a WTF moment, this is what it'll look like.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
So there you go. I put that together today. I hope you enjoyed that. But yes, quadruple bingo, guys. Very close to some others, but got to keep it real. That's what I'm doing over here. But with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for your attendance. Thank you so very much for your participation, keeping your eagle eyes and ears open on my behalf as we proceed, so I make sure that these things go as smoothly as they do. And also for your argumentation. For those of you who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. Given the time of year and the times that we live in, I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to hear more from me or the Ranting Monkey or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find all 3 of us tonight on the Ranting Monkeys channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for The Lords of the Night, where we will talk about the news of the day, news stories you submit, what we've been up to on the internet, and then your questions and comments. Mike R., thank you so much for the Dog Cat Fox. Number 1, Dog Cat Fox. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Everyone, as always, I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.